When you hear Pakistan, what comes to mind? Maybe ancient civilizations, majestic mountains, or perhaps some safety concerns. I completely understand. I had similar thoughts before this trip. But honestly, what I experienced was beyond anything I imagined.
Welcome.
Truly eye-opening and unforgettable. It was
Amazing. What an amazing experience! And the view is amazing! Woo!
This video is not sponsored. It's just me sharing a personal journey I think more people should know about. I'll walk you through the full itinerary so you can decide if this kind of trip is for you. And at the end, I'll share a few quick travel tips in case you decide to go. If you're even a little curious about what Pakistan has to offer, hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories and moments coming your way. Let's get started. Day 1. We started our journey at Singapore's Changi Airport Terminal 1, filled with excitement and plenty of curiosity. Our flight was on the Emirates A380-800, and honestly, the economy seats were pretty comfortable for a 7-hour, 40-minute red-eye. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not great at sleeping on planes, so I only managed a few short, shallow naps along the way. The main meal was decent, though the snack options before landing were a bit limited. Day 2. We landed at Dubai International Airport at 12:40 in the morning, and with a 2-hour 40-minute layover, I spent most of the time freshening up and checking out the popular Kunafa chocolates. We then boarded our next Emirates flight to Islamabad on a Boeing 777. This aircraft was a bit less comfortable than the A380, especially with the middle seat, but I was lucky to be seated next to a Pakistani based in the UK. We spent most of the time chatting about Pakistan. The in-flight breakfast was tasty, and after a short nap, we finally landed in Slamabad. At this point, we'd been traveling for a solid 13 hours and 30 minutes since our takeoff from Singapore. After picking up our luggage, we registered our names and passports at the airport, and a few of us had our bags opened for inspection. Once we cleared customs, our local tour guide met us, greeting us with a beautiful necklace made of fresh roses. The sweet fragrance was such a refreshing welcome after the long journey. We then loaded our luggage onto a minibus and headed straight for the famous colorful trucks. Truck art in Pakistan is more than just decoration. It's a canvas that symbolizes the confluence of culture, a culture common to regions stretching from Peshawar in Pakistan to Kabul and to the districts of Southeast India. Truck art in Pakistan has continued to evolve, incorporating and fusing modern aesthetics with traditional spiritual and folk elements. Next, we explored Raja Bazaar, the bustling heart of Islamabad's shopping scene. It was a great opportunity to browse the local market and get a sense of the prices for souvenirs and local products. Afterward, we had our first taste of local food. As usual with EU holidays, there was more than enough for everyone, and the food was absolutely delicious. An excellent introduction to Pakistani cuisine. The food, in general, is on the salty side. We then visited an upscale market where some of our group members picked out shalwar kameez, Pakistan's national dress. We skipped Saidpur village and the food street that day, saving them for day 11 instead. Our next stop was the Lok Virsa Heritage Museum, where we learned about the rich cultural history and diverse heritage that shapes Pakistan's identity. By 4 p.m., we had checked into Best Western Premier Slamabad, where we would stay for one night before returning on day 10 for another night. It was a decent and comfortable hotel, only a short drive from the city center. After a refreshing shower and a short nap, we headed out at 6:30 p.m. for dinner. The original plan was to dine at Pier Sohawa restaurant, but since it had closed in September 2024, we ended up having an average Chinese meal instead at a restaurant called Golden Dragon. Day 3. The wake-up call was at 5 in the morning. After a quick shower and breakfast, we left the hotel at 7 a.m. to catch our 9:45 a.m. flight to Skardu. We were all excited for the scenic flight, expecting stunning mountain views, and some of us decided to pay 1,000 Pakistani rupees or around $4 for a front window seat. It was definitely worth it. The flight was incredible, even though most of the mountain peaks were covered by clouds. Still, the views were breathtaking, especially as we began our descent. The skilled pilots navigated through the mountains, and we finally landed safely at Skardu International Airport. Stepping off the plane and onto the tarmac, the towering mountains around us made the whole experience feel surreal. We couldn't resist filming for a few videos, excited to be in the northern part of Pakistan. After a short drive, we stopped for lunch at the Walnut, where we got to try chapchuro, a local pizza from the region. It's essentially chopped chicken, onions, chili, tomatoes, and spices on flatbread, kind of like a quesadilla, but with its own unique twist. It was delicious. After lunch, we made our way to Upper Kachura Lake. We took a 15-minute easy hike to the viewpoint, where we took photos and videos with the lake and the mountains in the background. Due to time constraints, we just passed by Lower Kachura Lake for a quick photo stop before continuing our drive to Gilgit. In the itinerary, we were supposed to make stops at Astak Nala and Haramosh Valley, but I'm not sure if we actually made those stops. Along the way, I know we stopped at a few photo points where we could see the Karakoram, Himalayas, and Hindu Kush mountain range converge. And we even caught a glimpse of Nanga Parbat, the second highest peak in Pakistan and the ninth highest in the world. Unfortunately, it was cloudy that day, but we were lucky to get a clear view on day 8 during our return journey. The roads were mostly zigzag and a bit bumpy, with some signs of erosion. But overall, I was impressed by the highways, especially the Karakoram Highway or KKH, which is well built and connects different parts of northern Pakistan. Finally, at 7:01 p.m., we arrived at our hotel, the Ramada Resort by Windham Gilgit, where we would stay the night. We would return to the same hotel on day 7. The hotel was decent and comfortable, offering an amazing view of the mountains, which I only discovered the following morning. We enjoyed a buffet dinner before resting for the night. Day 4. I started the day by taking in the amazing mountain view from our hotel balcony and the breakfast hall. Unfortunately, someone in our group began vomiting and experiencing diarrhea. Luckily, my stomach was still okay, though I started to feel a bit queasy. After 9 in the morning, we left the hotel and passed through Gilgit's main town, where our local tour guide shared some interesting facts about the city. In this mountainous area, the internet provided by EU Holidays had a weak signal and was mostly unusable. Some opted to buy a local mountain SIM for a small fee, but had to register it with their passport. After 30 minutes, we continued our journey to our next stop, the drill machine point. This marks the site of the first machine used to build the road and serves as a tribute to those who lost their lives during its construction. Not on the itinerary, we made a stop at Juglot Bazaar, a group of shops along the Karakoram Highway. Here, we would see the local products being sold, everything from meat, fresh produce, and snacks to street food and souvenirs. We also interacted with the locals and were pleasantly surprised by their warmth and hospitality. Next, we visited the site where the Indian and Eurasian continental plates collided nearly 55 million years ago. The immense pressure caused the Earth's crust to buckle, creating the towering mountains of the Karakoram. The Indian plate still pushing northward into the Eurasian landmass at about 5 centimeters per year, causing the mountains to rise approximately 7 millimeters annually. We then stopped along the Karakoram Highway, where we could see a section of the old Silk Road. Locally known as Kinukuto, this part of the road, high up on the cliffside across the river, evolved from a footpath into a pony track and was later widened into a jeep road between 1958 and 1960. However, with the construction of the KKH in the 70s, the old Silk Road fell into disuse. Our next stop was the Rakaposhi viewpoint, where we took photos of the mountain and had a quick toilet break. We also got to see and hold a preserved ibex. There was an optional zip line here, but no one from our group wanted to try it, so we skipped it. On day 6, the zipline option was offered again, and 2 people from our group, including myself, decided to try it. After this quick stop, we had lunch at a nice garden showcasing an ethereal display of spring blossoms. By this point in the tour, I could tell my stomach wasn't feeling great, so I stuck to a warm, delicious local soup with noodles and mutton, controlling my portions of the other dishes. After lunch, we continued our journey and made a stop at a random spring blossom garden along the road. We enjoyed the blossoms and had a chance to explore the garden, where the locals were kind and welcoming. Next, we visited the ancient Altit Fort in the Hunza Valley. We were guided through the fort by a friendly tour guide who showed us around and even captured some nice drone shots of our group. The views from the fort were incredible, and we took plenty of photos at various points to capture the stunning scenery. At 6:12 p.m., we arrived at Ambiance Resort Hunza, where we would stay for the next 3 consecutive nights. This hotel offers amazing mountain views and a clear view of Ladyfinger Peak. It quickly became my favorite hotel of the entire trip. It was also a relief to have a few consecutive nights in one place, giving us a break from the constant packing and unpacking of our luggage. For dinner, we headed to the Hunza Serene Hotel and enjoyed their dinner buffet, which featured a wide selection of both local and familiar dishes. As a treat, we were able to listen to local musicians play traditional instruments. Day 5 was probably the most challenging for me. I woke up to the 7 a.m. wake-up call feeling lethargic with an upset stomach. We left the hotel at 9 a.m. and enjoyed the views of the mountains and rivers from the bus until our first stop at the confluence of the Hunza and Nagar rivers. The views here were stunning, and the sound of the flowing rivers was incredibly relaxing. We saw a group of gypsies who had set up camp in the area. The children came to us asking for food. These gypsies come to the valleys at certain times of the year to mine. As we continued our journey, the roads were lined with spring blossoms. We took a short break to walk along the road, snap some photos, and enjoy the incredible views of the blossoms with the mountains as a backdrop. We continued our journey with a quick stop in Nagar Valley, where the views were, once again, breathtaking. We interacted with some young girls who had just come from school and were adorned with local headdresses. They excitedly came to us, eager to show off their headdresses and take selfies with us. Next, we visited the Hopper Glacier viewpoint. From this viewpoint, the glacier didn't quite look like a glacier, as it had a mix of black and white coloring, which made it appear more like a regular rock formation. We had the option to hike down the glacier, and half of our group decided to take that opportunity. The hike down was steep, and the sun's rays were scorching. Once we made it to the glacier, walking on it was a truly unforgettable experience. Hiking back up, however, was tough. especially with an upset stomach and feeling lightheaded. But I managed to make it up, albeit slowly, and the whole experience was definitely worth it. We had lunch in the area before heading back. Along the road, we spotted a herd of yaks and we got off the bus to take a closer look at these animals. There were even some baby yaks in the herd. Back in the city, we explored Karimabad Bazaar, the main market in Hunza. One section of the bazaar was lined with cobblestone streets, and the entire area offered, of course, more breathtaking views of the mountains. Here, we were able to shop for traditional handicrafts, semi-precious gemstones, hand-woven fabrics, and interact with the warm and welcoming locals. We stopped at a coffee shop where I ordered 3 different Tetra Packs of mango juice. Pakistan is well known for its delicious mangoes, and I have to agree, the mango juices were absolutely delicious. Back at the hotel, we watched the sunset with the snow-capped mountains in the background, chatted more about Pakistan's history, and enjoyed dinner at the hotel, which offered a selection of mostly continental food. Day 6. The day began with a 7:30 a.m. wake-up call, followed by a light breakfast, since my stomach was still a bit off. We left the hotel around 9 a.m. but made a couple of quick stops soon after. First at a petrol station, then at a shop to buy water. Our first major stop was a scenic viewpoint featuring sacred rocks engraved with ancient animal drawings and Chinese characters. From there, we also got a nice view of the Altit Fort in the distance. We continued driving along the Karakoram Highway and entered the Atabad tunnels, which are divided into 4 segments. Between the second and third segments, we stopped at a viewpoint marked with a sign proclaiming "Long Live Pak China Friendship." It offered a stunning view of the calm green waters of Atabad Lake. After passing through the remaining tunnels, we hiked down to the lake where we took a short boat ride. It was a peaceful experience surrounded by mountains and tranquil waters. As we entered Pasu, we made a roadside stop to photograph the impressive Pasu Glacier, which stretches 20.5 kilometers across an area of 115 square kilometers. For lunch, we headed to a new restaurant called Fortune One, chosen by our tour guide and tour leader for its better hygiene standards, especially important since a few in our group had upset stomachs. The view from the restaurant's back terrace overlooking the river and surrounding mountains was just as remarkable. After lunch, we drove to Sost Bazaar, the closest we would get to the Chinese border on this tour. The border itself was still 2.5 hours away, but this was as far as our itinerary allowed. We explored the local shops, chatted with the friendly locals, and even took photos with the military before heading back toward the city. On our return, we passed the magnificent Batura Glacier at 57 kilometers long. It's one of the largest glaciers outside the polar regions. We also stopped along the highway to capture photos and videos with iconic Pasu cones in the background. This spot was probably the best angle for showcasing the cones neatly framed from the road. Our final adventure of the day was the Hosseini Suspension Bridge, a 200-meter long pedestrian bridge over the Hunza River in the Karakoram Range. With widely spaced planks and dizzying gaps beneath, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. Only half of our group dared to cross it. I also took the return zip line for 2,000 Pakistani rupee or around $7 US, which was an exhilarating ride offering spectacular views. We wrapped up the day back in Karimabad with dinner at Hilltop Hotel, which unfortunately was a bit of a letdown after such a fantastic lunch. After dinner, we returned to the hotel and began packing for our next move the following day. Day 7. Our wake-up call was at 6 in the morning, and by 8, we were on the road heading back to Gilgit. The first stop of the day was a roadside viewpoint that gave us a stunning, unobstructed view of Rakaposhi Mountain. From there, we made a quick visit to the official Rakaposhi viewpoint, perfect for a toilet break and of course more photos. After leaving the Hunza district behind, we continued our journey toward Nomal Valley. Since the road ahead was too narrow for our bus, we switched to jeeps to continue the ride. Just a few days earlier, an avalanche had blocked access to Rainbow Lake and Blue Lake, so the itinerary was adjusted. Instead, we visited an international ski resort and got a chance to see a snow leopard. Some of our tour mates even had the rare opportunity to pet it. Once that visit wrapped up, we returned to the jeeps, made our way back to the bus, and continued toward Gilgit. We had a late lunch in the city and finally checked back into our hotel at 3:23 p.m. The rest of the afternoon was free for us to relax, and dinner was served buffet style at 7 p.m. Day 8. It was another early start with a 6 a.m. wake-up call, and we departed the hotel by 8 in the morning. We made a slight detour, something not originally in the itinerary, to visit a monument marking the junction of the three highest mountain ranges in the world: the Hindu Kush, the Himalayas, and the Karakoram. We continued our journey and revisited one of the stops from day 3. This time, the skies were clear and we were lucky to get an unobstructed view of Nanga Parbat, the second highest peak in Pakistan and the ninth highest in the world. We eventually reached Skardu city and had lunch in the local bazaar. Afterward, we made our way to the Sarfaranga Cold Desert, where we walked on the dunes, took photos, and enjoyed some optional activities. Some of our group tried paramotor gliding for $90, a 10-minute ride around the desert, while others opted for quad biking at $45. A few of us simply relaxed and took in the views while waiting for the rest to finish. Next, we headed into Shigar Valley and checked into Serena Shigar Fort, a heritage boutique hotel set in a peaceful scenic location. There was a short hiking trail near the hotel, and we did a leisurely 30-minute walk to stretch our legs. Each hotel room is unique as the fort has been thoughtfully converted into guest accommodations. Our first room was small and cramped, with a concerning window in the bathroom that looked out toward our nearby mosque, raising privacy issues. Fortunately, we were able to switch to a larger room with 2 bathrooms, making our stay much more comfortable. Dinner was served in the open-air courtyard, surrounded by nature, offering a relaxed and peaceful end to the day. Day 9. This was probably the most difficult day of the tour in terms of travel, as we spent long hours inside the bus navigating bumpy and dusty roads. After leaving the hotel, we made a petrol stop and bought bottled water, something that could have been done the night before. The ride was rough. I couldn't sleep as the bus jolted frequently, and at times, the bumps were so intense that it felt like I was lifted off my seat. Along the way, we stopped at a viewpoint overlooking a dry lake, which fails once the glaciers begin to melt. We also made a quick stop at the confluence of the Indus and Shok rivers for some photos. Our first major stop was at Kushal Gardens, a peaceful and scenic spot. The entrance, lined with tall, slender trees, immediately brought a sense of calm, much needed after the rough drive. The garden has a small cafe and riverside villas available for rent. It's an ideal place to relax and take in the mountain views. We then continued to Kaplu Fort, where we had lunch before exploring the grounds. It was fascinating to learn how royalty once lived and to walk through the historic palace. Afterwards, we made a quick stop at the Chak Chan Mosque to take photos from the outside, as non-Muslims are not permitted to enter. Our final stop was the Sailing Bridge, where we snapped a few photos and videos before bracing ourselves for the grueling 3-hour return trip on the same bumpy road. We finally arrived back at the hotel at 6:57 p.m., had dinner, and wrapped up a long and tiring day. Day 10. We woke up to an early 5 a.m. call and departed the hotel at 6:30 to catch our 9:15 a.m. flight from Skardu to Slamabad. Since the skies were clear, I paid 1,000 Pakistani rupees or around $4 for a window seat on the right side of the plane where Mount K2 could be seen. I was assigned a seat by the emergency exit and the two seats next to me were vacant. From takeoff, I was glued to the window filming a 20-minute uninterrupted video while enjoying the breathtaking mountain views. This was easily one of the most scenic flights I've ever taken, and I couldn't help but admire the pilots for skillfully navigating the mountainous terrain. After landing in Slamabad, we transferred to a minibus and headed into the city for lunch. Big shout out to our local tour guide and tour leader who took our feedback into account and brought us to a pizza place that served both familiar flavors and options with a local twist. Much appreciated after days of traditional cuisine. After lunch, we visited the Shah Faisal Mosque, where many locals warmly interacted with us and asked to take selfies. We then headed to the Pakistan Monument and learned more about the country's history. Since we were already in the area, we decided to visit Shakarparya National Park, originally scheduled for day 11, which helped free up our schedule for a more relaxed final day. Islamabad felt especially hot, likely because we had just came from the cooler northern regions. We checked back into the same hotel we stayed at on day 2, then left again at 6:20 p.m. to explore and shop at F7 Market and Safa Gold Mall. I particularly liked Safa Gold Mall. Many of the shops offered good quality products at reasonable prices, and it felt more curated than the other bazaars. We wrapped up the day with dinner at New Kabul restaurant, a popular spot for both locals and tourists. They serve Afghan cuisine, and this was easily one of the best meals we've had in Islamabad. After that, we headed back to the hotel to rest and end the day. Day 11. This day was probably the longest and most challenging of the entire tour. Beyond the fact that the tour was nearing its end, we spent a lot of time waiting around. We had a 6:30 a.m. wake-up call for an 8:30 a.m. departure from the hotel. Our tour guide was able to arrange a late checkout for us at 3 p.m., which gave us a chance to freshen up after touring in the morning. Our first stop was the Golra Sharif railway station, where we explored a museum showcasing old train artifacts, as well as the personal carriage of Pakistan's founder Muhammad Ali Jinnah. After that, we headed to Saidpur village, originally planned for day 2 on the itinerary. There, we visited a Sikh temple, a Hindu temple, and a Garamshala, where they provide food to help the less fortunate. It was fascinating to learn that Saidpur is a place where 3 religions, Sikhism, Hinduism, and Islam, coexist peacefully. We had lunch at the very first restaurant in Saidpur, located right at the entrance of the food street, which transforms into a lively scene at night. After lunch, we made our way back to the hotel just before 1 p.m. We were able to take a shower, and rest before checking out at 3 p.m. Then we headed to Centaurus Mall, a sleek upmarket retail complex with over 300 shops. This was our chance to shop, buy a few things from the supermarket, have dinner, and pass the time. We left the mall just before 9 p.m. and made our way to the airport, which was about a 30-minute drive. Once at the airport, we had to wait for 3 hours for the check-in counters to open. Thankfully, some of our tour mates helped us pass the time in the lounge. After check-in, we had another long wait at the gate as our flight was delayed by over 2 hours. Finally, we boarded the plane, and because I was so exhausted, I managed to sleep through the short flight to Dubai. Day 12. The silver lining of the delayed flight from Slamabad was a shorter layover in Dubai, which gave us just enough time to freshen up, buy kunafa chocolates, and enjoy a warm meal at McDonald's before boarding the flight to Singapore. The flight was on time and uneventful, and landing back in Singapore marked the end of this unforgettable journey through Pakistan. We are back in Singapore, and that ends the tour of Pakistan. I hope you enjoyed the itinerary walkthrough of this Pakistan tour. And if you want more details, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.